Hello and welcome to the Speedrush 5 event, where we're racing for the Ferrari Daytona SP3. I'm starting here. This is stage 1. I've got no upgrades, of course, and let's just give this thing a test drive. I want to get a feel for this car. I'm guessing it does not have active downforce, meaning I don't think the grip's going to change at speed because there's no spoiler. I mean, there's a little bit of a thing there. Not much, though. So, I mean, there's something that air would catch as it's going over the back of the car. I just don't expect that we're going to have a lot of increased grip at speed. I mean, we're starting at, what was it, 1.31, something like that, and that's not completely horrible, but that's definitely not great. Like, this isn't going to drive like a race car. Like, here we are, I'm 250 kilometers an hour, and still the back end slipping out there pretty easy. It feels okay. Feels alright. I've certainly felt worse. This isn't like driving a Ferrari Enzo or the FF. I mean, those cars are just yikes. You know, some of those earlier Ferraris where they're super loose, where you've got like grip of like 1 or 1.1. So this isn't bad. So I'm just kind of sliding it around this lap, trying to get a feel for things a little bit, and that should be it. You know, just warm up the tires for one lap and then get going here. Ooh, trying to drift through this chicane a little bit, and that just didn't work. So I'll join the track here. You might not know that's actually on track. It's funny that's part of the junior course, I believe. Yeah, that would be the junior course where you drive on here. So, oops, oh well. Oftentimes the first race of stage 1 is pretty silly. So, you know, easy. And I totally missed my braking point. I just lost track of where I was. I'll throw this thing sideways as we come to an end of this particular first stage here, and we'll get on. Oh, I guess the first lap was an out lap. Okay, sorry guys. So that's okay. What I'll do then is I'll focus a little bit more on this lap. I'll try to use some more proper braking points. Just try to get a feel for this. Even though we might not have any more stages at Monza, that doesn't actually matter. When you're learning no assist driving, just as a little pointer here, a lot of people think you have to learn braking points in every single car, and you don't. You've got braking points that you use pretty well all the time, and you just tweak them for most cars. So I know the second distance marker is a pretty common braking point at Monza for this type of a car, and that felt like maybe it was a bit early, but it felt close. So I just know my braking points I usually use at Monza, so I start off using those exact points. I tweak from there. So that's what I'm doing, and it feels fine. So same with so we go under a bridge, and then there's going to be a banner, and there's a distance marker slightly before that banner, which is a very typical braking point. I'm going to brake right around there, and went off track a bit. Let's get a feel for this. Yeah, like that's fine. That wouldn't be optimal. Like I need to tweak it a bit more, but that was a pretty good braking point. After the second banner, or is this a bridge? Looks like almost a pedestrian bridge. There's a second distance marker there. I'm gonna brake after that and see what that feels like. Yeah, I could have got to the gas. Oh, maybe I couldn't get to the gas much earlier. So this gives me an idea. I'm comparing this to cars that are kind of in my memory already from just driving Monza and other cars. Big sideways skid. Woo, this thing goes on forever. Crash. Okay, so I got a little bit of a feel for things. I'm not going to earn any extra currency regardless of how I finish when it's just me. And this one, we've got a speed event here. Oh, hit speed 4 times in one lap. Well, that's interesting. So can I hit speed here? Because they're starting me a bit further back. Okay, so that was an out lap, but it was really short. I think I'm pushing this too far. Did I drive in? Yeah, I drove it in too deep, so I'm going to slide it sideways to try to stay off the wall. I didn't want to smash into the wall. Okay, so one little trick. You can hit speed, slow down a bit, and hit speed again. So let's just see if I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention to my speedometer. Getting close to that 289. I don't think I can hit here twice, so I'm not going to bother even trying. And definitely this first section I can't. By the way I just took that chicane, that would definitely be on track. I'd be fine doing that. I don't know if this is going to be... no, this shouldn't be difficult. There's 3 more good sections to hit speed. One of them I could probably hit speed twice. Let's see if I can hit speed twice here. Oop, little bit off track there, I think. So once I hit 289 or 290, I'll hit the brakes. Okay, let's see if I can get up to speed again. Oh, I didn't quite get there. Let's see if I can do 2 more on this back section. This is actually a place where you can hit some pretty high speeds, especially if your drive out of the chicane's pretty good. So let's try that technique again. Okay, on the brakes a bit, hit speed again. There we go, no problem at all. But I drove it in a little bit deep. Drift to drift to drift. Drifting parabolica is always fun. Ooh, that's a little bit too much. Okay, well, I better slide this around. Don't want to spend a lot of time off track. All right, let's head to that start-finish line and see what we got next here. I think I'll throw this thing sideways again. Maybe I'll see if I can do a complete donut as I'm sliding across the start-finish line. Oh, that was interesting. Almost spun around. All right, let's see what we got next here. Okay, now this is interesting. Right there it says autocross. This ain't no autocross. Just take a look. It's a speed snap with a time feature. It's not an autocross, it's a speed snap. They screwed that up. So I just wanted to see if I could lower the targets anymore. Now, all the targets from 1st to 7th or whatever were the same, which usually means it's as low as it can be. I want to test that. So I'm going to make sure I finish late, and I'm going to finish under speed by quite a lot. And let's just see if that lowers the targets at all. I'm not going to do much of this. I'll try one experiment, and let's see what that does. See if that lowers anything. Nope, everything's the same. Okay, well, let's try crossing a start-finish line with no speed at all. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? You'll see, there's a trick to that. It's actually not as easy as it looks. And you got to get speed going, and throw it sideways, and then make it so you're going neither forwards or backwards. So check it out. Throw a skid, get it perfectly drifting, and then the game makes me floor it when I cross the start-finish line. 0.00 kph. Still didn't lower the distances, the speeds that I needed to hit. So let's just finish this. And then I was contemplating my upgrades. I've got none, and probably won't need any for a few days, but there's instant servicing. And on a car like this, I bet you it's 12 hours to apply each upgrade, and instant servicing is only going to last, and instant R&D is only going to last for 3 hours. So you know what I decided to do? I thought, you know what? I don't want to sit around and wait. I'm just going to apply them all now, $690,300. That gives me an extra day of doing bot slowing if I want to, target management, more on that in future videos. So that's it for part here. Speedrush 5 Stage 2. I'm starting Day 2 here with the all Stage 1 upgrades. So 7 upgrades, Stage 1 of each of the different categories. I just didn't want to sit and wait for all of the servicing time, because I'm eventually, or the R&D time, I'm eventually probably going to need them. I'm pretty sure that's the least we'll need, probably more. So I thought, you know what, I'll add it now. Now you're saying, what are you doing? Why are you going the wrong way? Well, 2 reasons. 1, I don't want to win the race. I want to finish 8th. That's bot management. And 2, this helps me to build average speed. So I'm just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Why don't I want to win? This is, if you've seen these videos before about recommended PR events, you know. But when you finish later, it keeps the targets lower, and you can even lower them. So because I'm at or below recommended PR, right now I can actually lower the bot difficulty. So that's what I want to do. Try to keep things easier going forward. That is how you keep the costs down, is that you try to keep it easier. So breaking points I'm going with here are basically what I would use for these types of cars, like for supercars, faster cars that really don't have enough grip to keep up with it. The brakes seem okay in this car. Like I noticed at Parabolica here, I can brake later than I think I should, but at other places the braking's pretty bang on. Parabolica's weird, like right here, if you get on the brakes too early, you're gonna go flying off track. So you gotta be careful with Parabolica. Anyhow, now I'm gonna have an entire lap to go. I should be hitting average speed here pretty quick. There we go. I'm still gonna cut this first corner, but I'm not gonna do the super aggressive cut. I'm going to do the more controlled cut to the right here. The really aggressive cut is to the left, but you do risk smacking into the wall, which will definitely wreck the race. And this should not be difficult. So It's possible I could have done this without taking any cuts at all, probably, but want to be safe. If I've got extra speed and time, if I got extra speed when I get to the end of this lap, I can just slow down. Like already I'm hitting average speed pretty easily. Yeah, and there's really no more low speed corners. Like this last chicane's actually a pretty fast section. So I probably have way too much speed. But you know, I'm already in 8th place, and so that's gonna already lower things. So let's just take a look here. Do I even drop below? Nope, I'm not gonna drop below. Okay, so I'll be slowing down at the line a little bit here. Obviously, this isn't any trouble. If you've got lower upgrades, you could drive backwards for multiple laps if you want to. Like if you're doing this with no upgrades, if you're trying that, you could drive backwards for whatever you want and then build up that speed. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to slow down a little bit here, but not too much. I mean, I'm not going to make this too ridiculous. Let's get on to the next race and see if there's much of a challenge in stage 2 of Speedrush 5. All right, and the storyline has been all about Magnus and blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this a little bit unserviced. I don't think that'll be a problem. Starting pretty slow, should be drafting. So let's see here, maybe I won't. These guys seem pretty slow. I don't want to get too caught up here because I'm already damaged. I don't want to get more damaged. Yeah, and all I need to do is be in 3rd place. And so now I can just create a bit of a gap and sit here nicely until the end of this race. Now, if you know me, you might be noticing my voice sounds a little bit off. Couldn't sleep very good, so I'm just making a video kind of in the middle of the night. So, oh well, thought I'd be productive. Hopefully that's all it is. My voice does sound a little bit off, but I think I'm fine. I think it's just early morning voice, perhaps. We'll see. Hopefully that is. I feel fine. Anyway, back to the race. Not much to really talk about. I don't try to really learn much about braking points when I don't have any, when I'm already damaged. These other cars obviously have straight line speed. Oh, I was going to try to wreck him. I guess he's got much better grip than I do. Interesting thing, it's really hard to do a pit maneuver on a car that has better grip than you. So I drove it in deep and I won't let him pass me again, because that'll be a mistake. All right, but I still don't want to have a big lead being in 3rd place. Being in 3rd place actually can increase the bot difficulty. So don't want to finish with too much of a lead. And yeah, there we go, keeping him close. I try to keep him within 20. I might get a little bit silly at the line here. I might throw it sideways and just see what happens. Let's see if they wreck me. Ooh boy, that's quite the push. All right. Oh, that's that one. Let's get on to the next one. Okay, gotta win this race. Well, we'll see what that's like. I don't think it'll be very difficult. I did service in between. I tried this unserviced and that didn't work for me. Maybe I could have done it with some aggressive cutting, but I thought, I want to show you guys that you can do this, let's just say it the right way, without cheating. Not that I consider off track. For me, cheating is more like hacking the game, but I mean, there we go. You can see that was clean, little bit of contact, nothing too crazy. Oh, and they're side by side. That's interesting. Well, I bet I'm not. Ooh, boy, that's kind of silly. I was going to play a little bit. Yeah, these particular Lamborghinis definitely have more grip than I do. I better be more careful in that. Ooh, that could be a problem. I'm now in 3rd place. Okay. Well, I've got to out-accelerate these guys because I can't out-corner them. Magnus. Okay, well, I'll hang with them. I'll catch some draft. And I'll be setting up a last chicane pass. So I better nail my braking point pretty accurately and then take the inside line here and blast by him. Ooh, definitely had contact there. But that's okay. You know what? My voice is starting to sound a little bit stranger. Maybe I'm not as good as I think, but oh well. I'll still give you guys the video. You can hear me with a frog in my throat. I guarantee you it's ME7. It's not an imposter. This is me. If you know me, you can probably tell a bit by my humor. Okay, I'll reel him in a little bit. I don't want a huge lead. There we go, that's good. Now I'm doing a little bit of bot maintenance, not winning by big margins. That'll hopefully keep things reasonable. I'm right at recommended PR, so either the very first race of stage 3 or somewhere in stage 3, I'll be below recommended PR. So it'll start to get more difficult. Oh well, that's expected. That's why you're here, probably. And we'll see what this is like. So I might do it with just R upgrades. I didn't go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was $690,300 for all stage 1 upgrades, which I bought yesterday. Again, because I'm pretty sure it's like 12 hours per upgrade, and you can do that and wait a day, but then it often happens mid-stage, and then you're watching a ridiculous amount of ads to try to get through the servicing, and I thought, you know what, I'm sick of doing that, so I'll take advantage of the R&D and take at least the R$ upgrades, which is, most people are going to do that. If you've got lower skill level, you definitely are going to need that. It's very rare you can get a car with no upgrades at all. When you can, it's very difficult. Like, I think the last one we had was the Bugatti Bolide, which was possible with no upgrades, but you had to do a lot of maneuvering. It was not easy. And that car really deserves to be upgraded. It's just such a monster. This is not difficult, though. This is easily doable without any upgrades at all. You'd have to do some off-track cutting for the average speed race. That's fine. Not a big deal. Now, you gotta watch this Lamborghini at Parabolica here. Watch. He's gonna try to take the outside, so I gotta block him. Not a big deal, though. So, no trouble. Stage 2, no trouble at all. I'm just gonna take it easy here. Oh, that's right. He damaged me after I crossed the line. Okay. Well, please like and subscribe. Join me for the rest of the series. I'll post them as soon as I can make them. And welcome to Speedrush 5, Stage 3. I've already got Stage 1 upgrades, $690,300, and I did that because I didn't want to apply them later and have to watch a whole bunch of ads to speed through servicing or R&D, blah, blah, blah. Pretty sure we're going to need them, but there you go. That's what I'm starting Stage 3 with. I also did that through Stage 2. I mentioned that during the video. This is interesting. This one said nothing about going off track, but if you go off track, boom, you're done. So you don't need to. Like right here, I'm going to hit speed all 3 times right here. So as soon as you hit speed, drop your top speed by like 20 kilometers an hour, drop it by like 10%, and then you can go back and hit it again. So you can see there, I had no trouble hitting speed 3 times right away. Now, I just got to finish. And I'm not going to finish any higher than 6th place because this is bot management. Want to keep those targets low. Probably could finish in 4th place if I wanted to. I really don't care about the earnings. It's not going to make that much difference in R dollars or fame in a race that is this short. So might as well just take it easy. Do some drifting if you want to. It's kind of dangerous to be drifting here because if I go off track, it's an instant fail. Found that out the hard way. But I think the monkeys screwed something up there. Oh well, they didn't tell us anything about no off track, so usually they do. Not a big deal, because this is a really easy stage. And now notice the last chicane. Watch how the bot takes this. See, notice how he's staying within the borders? You don't have to do that, and that's very important to know that. You have to know where actual off track is in this game. I've said it piles of times in my videos. That's going to come into play in today for sure. Check this out. I love doing that maneuver. It's just awesome. All right, and there you can see whatever. I made a little tiny bit. So this one definitely says no off track, right? Well, check this out. It's really funny. Of course, I'm forced to take this chicane like a bot, which is ridiculous. So I want to be in last place. I'm pretty sure this is already off track, but it doesn't matter because what I'm going to do here is definitely way off track. And it doesn't seem to matter. Same with this. This is way off track. So even though it says no off track, that's not true. So if you want to utilize that to save some time, do it. I'm not. I'm going to do this staying on track. So here I'm going to start my speed run. And But if you wanted to, you could blast through the last chicane and save probably 5 seconds on your time right there. 5 seconds? 3. So, but I'm going to do this carefully. Ooh, I really blew that corner. Okay. I'm just going to do it carefully because I'm sure I can, even though I'm not driving. Oh, sliding out there, not optimizing this corner. Oh yeah, that's sloppy. I mean, again, I'm still getting used to this car. It takes a long time to get used to a car. Like, what I mean is, well, maybe a half an hour to an hour if non-stop driving at a certain track, and then you adapt that to the other tracks. But with time trials, a lot of people think, oh, a person nails the time in a minute or two, and it's just not true. People work at it pretty hard. All right, so what's interesting is that this car, I'm learning you can brake really late. So I'm using this side road as my braking point, and watch how I take the chicane. None of that is off track. You'll see that, again, in the next stage, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That is not off track. Okay, and I guess I did take this kind of down to the wire, didn't I? Still, not difficult, but if you needed to blast through that last chicane, you just do it, and that'll get you through that. Now the rest of this, I'll show you. I was going to show you on that first stage, and I forgot to. I like to test how much off track do we get. Do they mean literally no off track? Okay, that would be a full second. So if you needed to, you could stretch that chicane. You couldn't fully cut it, but you could stretch it out. And I'm gonna do this really clean. Because now it's like, don't touch anybody. Don't hurt your car. Don't hurt their car. Don't go off track. Don't make them go off track. It's tempting. I really like to mess up Magnus, but I'm going to keep it super clean. Oop, little bit sketchy there. Still getting used to this puppy. But now I should have been on the other side of him, because look how much room he gave me to overtake him on the right-hand side. Because a bot is forced to drive that way during the first lap to give room for on the inside. It's really funny. That's why if you're using steering assist high, you get forced into really ridiculous race lines that really eat up your time. Steering assist low isn't that bad. I don't mind it most of the time, but it feels weird to me. It makes me feel weird when I use any steering assist, and I used to use them all the time. Nowadays, I only use steering assist on Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Daytona Motor Speedway, not the road courses. Ooh, that was close. Don't want to do that. Now, I'm not going to take off. Another thing about bot management, in case you don't know, don't win by a big amount. When you're forced to win by as little as possible. Now, I messed up and forgot there was another lap, so now I got a Lamborghini breathing on my back end here. So I've got to be careful heading into corner 1 here that 1, I don't lose it, 2, he doesn't nail me. Because if a bot hits you, you're going to fail. That sucks. So, not a big deal. Just keep on going. So I've got Zoe in second place right now. I am trying to stack them up a little bit just to kind of have some fun, but I got to be careful. Don't want to have a huge incident here. I'm glad this is the shorter version of Nürburgring. I don't want the long version in an event like this. That's just more servicing. And I'm purposely doing a bit of drifting. I think they're going to get really close here. Ooh, that's a little bit too much. I don't want to go off track. Okay, what's going on behind me? It's still Zoe. I thought Magnus was right there with Zoe. Oh, Magnus. Oh boy, they're right there. But this last chicane will be a joke. I can go in a little bit deeper, braking later, and see that's just not off track. Oh, and now I got to reel him. Oh, Magnus overtook Zoe. Good job, Magnus. So I'm going to reel Magnus in here, and I want the second place car to be within 20 of me. So whether you're meters or yards, I like to do that. I like it nice and close. And now it's blah blah blah, same race, but it's just us and Magnus, and same thing, no touching. Because the storyline says apparently we've been quarreling too much, which we really haven't. Now that's an instant fail. Okay, that's like boom, you're instantly done. There's no shaving time. Magnus has a big lead start. I'm a little bit concerned. So this will be a hard stage for some people. I'm pretty sure people will be upgrading right here. This would be possible with no upgrades. You just got to be really good. But there's nothing wrong. Like if you need $R upgrades. I know our dollars are still important, not near as important as gold, But I do remember the day where I had no R dollars and I had to service a car. That scared me. So I remember. So anyway, I'm going to keep this nice and clean. And if nothing else, yeah, I could have caught up more there probably with cleaner driving. Last chicane is probably where this is going to matter because, well, he's in there as a higher grip car, higher grip than me. Aston Martin something. I don't know what he's driving. I didn't take a good enough look yet. So I'm going to set up and overtake at the last chicane. I want to go on the outside right. I think that's my best option. Here we go, blast. Oh yeah, that's a higher grip car. And there we go, nice and clean. No touching at all. No off track at all. But for some people, they're going to need to add upgrades. There you go, don't worry about that. Like I said, I've got all stage 1 R dollar upgrades. I'll show you again. 690,300 R dollars. And that's it. So please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hello and welcome. This is very important. Once you click on this icon, a timer appears. You have to finish the event before that timer runs out or you don't get the car. You just get the rewards. All right, this is stage 4. And this first race, this is difficult. I'm starting with all stage 1 upgrades and still, it took me a while to make this work. Now, if you just drive straight from this point and finish this stage, you can do that without a problem. You'll be able to reach average speed, but you're gonna finish higher than I wanted to finish. I wanted to finish in last place while still reaching average speed for bot management to try to keep the goals easier going forward and keep the bots easier. So to do that, we've got to log average speed going the wrong way. You can't just sit there and wait till bots pass you. So this is tricky. Really pay attention to where I stopped and turned around, or else your car avoidance will be different than mine. So I know that now I got to go to the right. There's going to be 2 white cars on my left. Now I go back to the left. There's going to be a red car. And now I can brake, wait for this blue car to go by. Now go to the inside for the first red car to go by. Zoom. Then I'm going to go to the right. And white car, go back to the left. Another blue car, yellow car. Now I can carefully turn around. Another blue car will appear. And I've got to be very on the ball here. Really push it to reach my average speed. This took me an embarrassingly long amount of time. Sometimes I get a bit obsessed. And I think I spent a half hour on this. But you know what? That's okay, because this is helping me to hone my braking points, which could be very important in other parts of stage 4. So I don't regret this because it's a learning experience. Now in real life, I just spent 3 hours driving through a blizzard in the night. Blizzard is a really bad snowstorm where there's a lot of blowing snow and it's hard to see, and I would just 3 hours of being really intense watching for wildlife to be on the highway, and I'm not sleeping yet. So I'm working on my video because I knew I couldn't get to sleep. So that's what I'm doing. After 3 hours of intense driving, I did more intense driving. Virtually less consequences, no deer or moose to hit or ditches to run into, and yeah, saw a bit of that. Okay, I'm already hitting average speed. Pretty cool. So now I just need to really nail this and I should be okay. I clipped the wall. This event is more old school. Well, what I mean is like no off track, like not even a fraction of a second for a lot of stages, even at the early points, and things like no damage. That's the way these used to be, these recommended PR events. That's what I like. It's a challenge. That's why people like me keep playing this game, for stuff like this. It's a nice challenge. So there we go. Looked easy. Took me a long time to work that out. And earnings were horrible. Oh well. This one's also interesting. This one didn't take me long to nail. So gotta hit speed 4 times. You can't get overtaken. So as soon as you pass a bot, you cannot let him pass you back. So you gotta really plan where's your speed run that's gonna happen. So I decided my first speed run will be here. I'm gonna catch a little bit of draft from the F40LM, I think it is, pretty sure. So just a little bit of draft, not much. I'll hit speed here once, and then really nail this braking point so you can hit speed a second time. Very short braking point there. Gotta hit speed here. Gotta drive it in a bit deep. There you go. So I'm watching just to see when did I actually hit speed. Have to hit speed here too. Take this wide. So we're going to drive it in deep again. There's two really big green patches on the right there. Shortly after that, there's a little anomaly on the grass. You can brake a little bit after that. It's on the right-hand side. Now here, we also have to set up our last speed run. There we go. That should be beautiful. Ooh, that's getting close to off track. Go to the far left to lengthen the track. Oh, could have been farther than that. How close does this get? That's pretty close. There we go. So that's how I did that. I don't mind finishing 5th. That's okay. And this one's interesting. You do have to push it. All of this is a little bit tricky with just stage 1 upgrades. So I decided to rough up Zoe a little bit. If you do this too much, you will fail. So don't get too crazy with Zoe. But that's enough just to slow her down a little bit. And then you got to push it. Push it, push it, push it. And this is 3 laps. Work on your braking points. Okay? Try to drive this as fast as you can. You really need this for the next race. So here, you really want to push that. It's amazing to me how late I can brake at this braking point here. This is a very difficult corner, one of the hardest corners in the game for me. It's a parabolic shaped corner, and all I mean by that is a really wide sweeping corner like the famous Parabolica at Monza. Those corners are really hard to really maximize. That's what I find. They're just hard to maximize. Like, you don't want to be braking any earlier than you have to. You want to get at the throttle at the right time. It's really tricky. So really work on that while you're doing this particular race. This one isn't easy though. Just being honest, it's not easy. Like there, I could have been on the throttle earlier, and so I gotta work. I definitely had to do more homework and work. You see the little red second section there? We're gonna talk about that the very next lap. There's a red section on the inside of the curve. There's 2 of them. The second one, you want to have your race line. For me, it's the word trajectory. You want to have your path through the corner so that you can be full throttle at that point. So you take the corner just a hair wide, so your car is kind of lined up with that red line, and then you can be on the throttle and power out of that corner really nicely. I don't like going off track for this corner in these cars. And that wasn't great. So let's just see how well I can set it up this time. Okay, on the brakes nicely. So the second section here, see that? Not good. That is where you want to be on the throttle. I just didn't have the car pointed in quite the right direction. But it's okay. So Zoe is just rounding that. Yeah, this will be it. This corner's tricky too, and that corner's so important because you got a huge speed run. Now, of course, Zoe's in an older Ferrari. She's going to be, so, there we go, overtake there. Okay, now we get to the really difficult stage. Not kidding, guys. I bet you I spent an hour on this race. Okay, first pointer happens right now. We're going to do a freeze frame. Okay, they're starting us. Did they start us with enough speed? Oh, good question. Check it out. At the line, 262, okay? Watch this. Throw the brakes on and turn around, okay? First thing you're going to do, you're going to turn around and you're going to go back a little bit. The timer didn't start yet, right? Check it out. No timer started yet, so it doesn't matter. And we're going to go back a ways. You'll have my reference point. Again, if you don't have the right trajectory or a race line, this could give you trouble. When I'm doing something like this, when it starts taking me a while, I try to pick a point on the track where I can start from and then go full throttle. So I'm going to back up here, over from the gray, pretty well straight over. Now I'm full throttle. Drive straight for a bit, start my turn. I think I could have even started further. Yeah, I could have started further back. Really far to the left. Really lengthen this track out. And check out my speed at the line. Let's freeze frame it and compare. 24 kilometers an hour faster, all right? That just saved us time. Very important. Now, I don't really like how I took corner 1, but this is going to be successful, so you watch very closely here. I'm keeping all 4 tires on track for my braking. See that? See that power on point? I was talking about that. That was perfect. That was a perfect acceleration point and braking point. I'm very happy. Watch on the right. Here's that strange grass anomaly. I'm braking about a car length after that. I wish I was a little bit earlier into that corner, but then here I was braking just before the curve started. All extremely difficult. Like this would be a high Group B time if this was a weekly time trial tournament. Like look at this. Like come on, hardly any time left on that clock, right? Awesome. So there we go, guys. I'll show you my upgrades just the same as I started this day. Please like, please subscribe, drop me a comment. Hello and welcome to stage 5 of Speedrush 5. We are driving for the Ferrari Daytona SP3. I'm starting with all stage 1 upgrades today. That's $690,300 I've had them since the end of stage 1. I put them on at the very end there. So we got to move through this really fast. Bots are going to drive in race formation for the whole first lap, which means if they started on the left, they're going to stay on the left. If they started on the right, they're going to stay on the right. Well, maybe not for the whole lap, definitely for this whole initial section. Now I'm really over braking this. Kind of wasn't expecting that, but this is really easy. This is my first try. And pay attention to this right here. Bots never drive there. That's very important. By the way, if you wouldn't mind, if you haven't, please subscribe, hit the bell, press the like button. If you leave a comment, if you have a question, I'll try to answer it. And back to the racing. We're at Stowe Corner, and I'm liking this car. Braking points are pretty good. I'm having trouble at this chicane with this car, so I'm not quite sure how to take this chicane, because I'd like to stay full throttle from here, but obviously I couldn't. So just going to be working on that. Now I'm in 8th place, got to get up to 6th place. So knowing in my way, I should be able to do this a little bit better. I might be over braking for that first corner. I'm just trying to take it easy. Not really sure what this is all going to be like. I'm kind of just getting used to this track and this car. So this braking point is really important, and I'm way too late on the brakes. But right there, the bots never drive there. So you need to really round off that corner so you can get back to the throttle earlier, and you're going to really catch up on the bots that way. It's a very important part of this track. Always important to know where actual off track is versus what the bots drive as off track. So, and sometimes that'll include sections of the track that are used in other circuits, which is exactly what's going on at that corner. So let's see, the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit would have this corner and this corner and this corner, but then it would go off to it'd have a hairpin right here, whereas we're going straight through. So this section of that I'm driving on, that's a section from another track. That would be Chapel Curve of regular Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. So that's the exit of Chapel Curve. So there we go. That's why that is on track. That's the explanation. That same thing is true for all multi-version circuits in this game. You can be driving in an area that should really be off track for that given circuit, but it's not in this game. So we can use it then. Like time trials, you can drive there. All right. So there, as I said, very easy. I'm slowing down. I want to finish in 6th with as little as possible, little as a lead. Next race, they want us to get up to 3rd. Again, this is easy. This is my first try at this race, and I get there. So again, we got to really take advantage of what's going on. Okay, well that car on the left is really slow. It's got insane grip, but I mean, it's really, really, really slow. And we got to take advantage of formation driving. So watch, they're going to really overbrake. Okay, that McLaren, he's probably going to be a problem. He doesn't have the greatest, oh, here's another McLaren. That one actually, I think that's a 720S. Okay, that's a beastie car. That car outdrives its PR rating all the time. So I expect he will be a problem. So I'm comfortably in 3rd, right? This should be a joke for 3 laps, but not with that McLaren on my tail. I'm going to have to watch him. Woo boy. Now it's okay, I could go into 2nd. I don't want to. Remember, we only want to finish as high as we have to and by as little of a lead as possible, because that's what will keep the bots as easy as they could be at this current point. So now that McLaren's all over my rear end. He's making me nervous. Sometimes what I like to do is create a gap. So I don't mind letting 2nd place get way off, but I also don't know of how easily I can defend against this McLaren. So I might stack him up a little bit in the corner. Okay, well, I need to really learn how to take advantage of this corner. So I'm going to back up that braking point a bit. Let's see here, drive off. See how I made this a lot straighter? Look at my drive off compared to that McLaren. He definitely has better acceleration than me, but I was back to the throttle so much earlier. Now he's gaining, and like before I got on the brakes, he's gaining. And you can see he had a head of steam. He obviously has better grip as well. And so, wow. So I got to defend one more lap. Now that's pretty good though. His drive out of that chicane was horrible. Now I don't want to get too close on the car in front of me. I'm just trying to make sure, I'm trying to really hone my skills at this track and this car. Well, now I'm right on his tail, so obviously I'm doing fine. Oh, but the McLaren's right behind me again. Oh, nuts. I'm kind of feeling boxed in. This is why I like to create a gap. Okay, well, I'm going to really push this guy. Check it out. Check me gap the McLaren. And let's see if he starts to gain on me again. Oh, it's starting to gain. Before I was on the brakes, he's gaining, which means he's coming in there with a head full of steam. But we'll be okay, because he does really bad at this section of the chicane. So I'll actually let him catch up a bit more. And then we get to where things get difficult. Actually, things get quite difficult. So I had to add upgrades. Spent some time on this one, did a little bit of research. So now I took a different upgrade tree than Speedmaster did. It's a little bit cheaper. I get 1 more kilometer per hour top speed, 0.01 seconds less acceleration. I need to give credit to Speedmaster. I checked out his video to see how he did this. And so I'm offering the same race line, but with a different upgrade strategy. It's a little bit cheaper. That doesn't mean it'll be cheaper in the long run, but okay, full throttle, see, full throttle, braking way too late, giving this guy a light smack. If you hit him too hard, you fail. Now, Speedmaster got right in front of him. I didn't, so I need to brake early and then really get on the throttle and shove him out of my way. See, if you hit a car, if you get in front of the car and start hitting it, they'll actually hit the brakes. But now I've got a very fast Lamborghini that has more grip than I do on my outside. Okay, I gotta drive this and block him. Ooh, boy, that's sketchy. And I'm really blocking the entrance to the chicane. As you can see, I'm watching where his number is at the bottom of the screen. You might wonder, how do I know where he is? I'm watching that number, and then I'm anticipating the bot's movements because I've done this a lot. So there we go. That is definitely the hardest race of stage 5. And this race also really easy, like dreadfully easy. First attempt, this is just a joke. So you have nothing to worry about. I was worried. So here, I was heading into corner 1. I thought, okay, same thing. I'll drive it in full throttle. And Zoe's like hammering the brakes. Okay, well, but that's a Senna. And so these Sennas are amazing, really amazing grip. Like they don't have the greatest acceleration. Don't get me wrong, they're incredible. But here, look at this. Look at that, beautiful. And Zoe, what are you doing? Like, bye-bye, Zoe. That's just insane. Obviously, her acceleration is no match for this car, for the Daytona SP3. So I'm pretty happy. Pretty good stage 5. It's extremely difficult to do that third race. You have to hit that Lamborghini, because if you don't, you won't catch him without spending way more money on upgrades. Like, way more. So I'll go over my upgrades again. I'll show the cost again, coming up here in just a few seconds. Let's go through these screens and make sure to service your car at the end of the day. Always do that. And then there we go. Hello and welcome to stage 6 of Speedrush 5, racing for the Ferrari Daytona SP3. My starting upgrades cost $1,167,700 R and 170 gold. And here's something that you'll never see me do. I'm going to tilt A controls and steering assist high. More on that in a second. I messed up my first run, so this is my second run. For Daytona Speedway and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So the speedways, not the road courses. I love steering assist high. It seems to help to smooth the inputs a bit, especially when you're riding high up against the wall like you see me doing here. And that's where I'm going to stay. I'm keeping it on the wall, going down a little bit to build some speed like you'd see in actual racing, Otherwise, the longest distance around this track is right up against the wall. So that gives me more time to build speed. Now I have to go uphill a little bit to get up here, but then I get the downhill at the exit, so it evens out. You might have noticed a discrepancy between the upgrades I listed yesterday and what I listed today. It's the exact same upgrades, but I listed a different $R cost. That's because I forgot to include the cost of Stage 1 upgrades, which was an additional $690,300. So the $R cost I showed was just Stage 2 upgrades for the engine and tires and wheels. So I apologize for that. Today is definitely the correct starting number, and we'll see how far I can go with those upgrades. As you can see, we're getting near the end of this stage, and I have not hit average speed yet. If I have to, I will drive down from the top to the bottom, right at the line here. Oh, there we go, I already hit it, that's awesome. I'll still do it anyway. There we go. So, still, that's the upgrades I needed to finish stage 5.3. They're still working so far. Let's see how far I can go. So here we've got to hit a certain speed 5 times. I switched back to tilt B controls. I'm so used to it. Honestly, I have less trouble holding this car steady. Now, I purposely went up high right away, and you got to hit speed and then lift off the accelerator a bit. I think you only need to slow down about 10 kilometers an hour, but I'm going to probably do about 15 kilometers an hour just to make sure that's enough. So what would that be? That's about 5%. So I'd say that's probably, they don't ever give us the exact number, but I'd say it's about 5%. Well, there I only slowed down to 336. So let's see if I can hit speed again here. Only going, so I'm going to steer down a little bit out of here. Oh, that worked. Cool. Okay, so 346 to 336, that's 10. I'm just chewing on the math for a bit. That's about 3%. So that's less than I thought. I know if you don't slow down enough, it won't count. So just be careful with that. So I'm just going to say approximately 3%. I don't know exactly. Still, this isn't difficult. There's lots of space to do that. This is probably a precursor to what's coming up. I'm surprised there's been no traffic to contend with at all. So I doubt that's going to last. I mean, here I've already hit my speed. So, not much to worry about. Maybe I should drag the race out a little bit. Ooh, that's dramatic. I slowed that down a little bit. Well, that can happen. The car could hit a seam in the wall and just go flying. That's kind of funny, isn't it? All right, so let's see if we can finally get into some traffic. Yes, there's a drafting requirement. Well, that should be interesting. What are we contending with? Well, it's a Venom F5. Now, don't you get all worried. You would think a Venom F5 should totally take off. And I would agree with you, because a Venom F5 has better grip than this car in the corners. However, Zoe's driving, so we have time to catch her. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I want to hit speed, so I'm keeping it up against that wall, and then I'm going to drive out, down from this at the corner at the exit. And if I can hit speed here, I'll do a reset. Maybe I shouldn't. And I wasn't sure if I dipped it far enough, so I went down more. Maybe it's better to keep it pinned through this whole section and catch up to Zoe, because there's lots of time to hit the speed requirement. But this is how I'm doing it, and you'll see this works fine too. So here I can do a drive down, hit my speed again. And maybe I should have kept it pinned and got some drafting in. I'm making this more difficult on myself maybe than I have to, but you just watch. It's really not that difficult. I can hit speed here again, probably. But this time, let's just keep it pinned. Well, no, actually, I got to slow down a lot. Like, Zoe is just like, what are you doing, Zoe? Now, look at that distance build up. If you're not familiar with it, if you are, you're already saying it, Roman cubits. It's not meters, it's not yards. When I researched to figure out what measurement lines up, it's Roman cubits. Basically, for every meter you travel, you're getting credited with 2.25 meters. If you reverse engineer that, you get 44.444 centimeters or 17.48 rounded off to 49 inches. Weird unit of measurement. They have no idea how it happened. They can never fix it because it would mess up all flashback events. So, oh well, it's virtual, hey? It's a virtual meter or a virtual yard. It's just funny that it's an actual Roman cubit. boom. You don't want to hit Zoe too hard or you will fail, because it did say to keep it clean. I'm pretty sure it said keep it clean. You know what? If it didn't say keep it clean, we could smash up Zoe and that would slow her down. There's no use. No use in doing that. So, now what you could do, you could let Zoe lap you. Maybe I should have done that. I don't know. So I think second place might be second place, but let's just, I'll go to the pit lane here. Pit lane. Woo! Because maybe it isn't. So that slowed it down a little bit. Okay, now it's upgrade time. I could not do this with the upgrades I've got. I gave it a try many times. Not possible. So this is the actual total cost of those upgrades. Just shy of 1.6 million R dollars and 320 gold. That's going from 0 upgrades all the way to what you saw there. And I'm driving up to the top right away. That could slow me down a bit because I just drove uphill, but I've got a strategy because I want to start logging that average speed. Now, Zoe slows down a lot here. Don't try to catch draft from her here. It's just a waste of your time. Drive down out of this. And see, if I stay here, she's going to slow down as she approaches me. So I'm staying low and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and then I'm going to suddenly go up because I want her to get really close to give me a really good push into this corner. If you risk that too much, she'll do the pit maneuver on you. But I wanted a huge push into that corner. And you'll see, it was okay the way I did it. That worked pretty good. Here I'm hitting speed just close to the line, but not too bad. So there you go, stage 6, still not all that bad. I'm still not at recommended PR. I'm happy with this. So please like, please subscribe. Hello and welcome to stage 7 of Speedrush 5, where we are racing for the Ferrari Daytona SP3. This is the very last stage, and first things here, we've got a time trial, and take a look. The time isn't moving. Now you gotta get out of the way. This is dangerous. There's cars right behind me, and I had to do this a few times to figure this out. You don't want to deal with slow cars in front of you. They're just going to get in the way. You want a nice, clear track, and also, we were going far too slow. I'll prove it to you, okay? I took a little snapshot of a certain point on the track right when I was getting control of the car, so right at the green light, and we're going to bring that up right now, and you're going to see that my speed was 194, okay? Check this out. 270. That is a massive difference. It's a massive speed difference. So when I'm crossing the start-finish line, it does start to equalize, but it does give me more speed when I cross the start-finish line and for when that timer actually starts. Now, I didn't do too many practice runs here, so let's see how optimized that is. Actually, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. So with where I am, I've created this nice pocket where I've just got nothing to contend with. It's just me. And that's great. So all I have to do is make sure that I don't mess this up. Now, I've driven this course a lot, not in this car. And I'm doing okay. I started that turn too early, getting back to the gas a little bit late. You really want to be utilizing that curb. And this is always tricky. Watch this. Not off track. None of that is off track. And you might think that was a waste of time, but there should be some point in this stage where I can show you how much of an advantage that gives you over the bots. Taking that wide like that, it gives you more, you build up more speed, so you give up a little bit of time, but then you get it back here. And then braking point, there's a light that as soon as I can see that light, I gotta pound on those brakes for the upgrades I have. Bear in mind that this will change depending on your upgrades. So right now, I've got the upgrade pattern of 3-1-3-1-3-1-3. And if you don't know what that means, just I'll show you later on in the video here. I'll bring that up. Check this out. That was a close call. So I've got the same upgrades I had at the very end of stage 6. And I'm going to try to make it through this whole day with just those upgrades. Oof, not easy. And I'd be very happy if I can pull this off. Now this one took me a little bit more because there's traffic to contend with. And it took me just a little bit to figure out when are they braking, what are they doing, who's who. So there's one really slow car, same car as we've been seeing. And it took me a little while to realize I can't really slow down too much or someone's going to be smacking me in the back. And this is all like no damage, no off track. And the no off track, when I did test it, it was instantaneous. Like not even a 1/10 of a second, not even a 100th of a second, just boom, you failed. And you know what? That's cool. That's old school. Now, I was just checking to see where am I supposed to be? And yes, 8th place. Cool. I just wanted to double check that, because if I needed to get higher, well, they're all right there. This actually isn't seeming too difficult so far. So I can take it a little bit easier. The car behind me there, that's a fast car, but it has no grip. And you can see that he really falls off there. And he's not too fast. But I create a little bit of a pocket for myself and just ride out this particular race in 8th place. Hopefully things don't go bad. Wow, did he ever get off the gas? Oh, I'm just a lot faster than him. Never mind that. And I'm getting on the brakes really early because I was anticipating trouble. Because a lot of times when the bots are grouped up heading to the bus stop, which is what we just went through at Daytona Road Course, often there's a wreck. And I don't want to finish higher than 8th if I don't have to. And I don't have to. I decided to switch to hood view. Or bonnet view. Looks kind of cool. Not gonna race like this. I'm horrible in all views except for chase view. I'm horrible. So now we've got a minimum average speed requirement, and we've got to get up to position 5. So that gets a little bit more interesting. So again, I did a little bit of trial and error, and I realized that getting up to position 5 isn't difficult. So I'm going up to the very top to build more average speed. I want to take the longest way around this track, and that is by riding the high line. So, and you really notice that at Daytona. It's such a massive track. So I've tested this, and it's a lot longer taking the top line than it is the bottom line, but also gives you more time to build up speed. All right, that McLaren's interesting. That's a good car. He can outpace us in the straights, and ooh boy, I'm surprised he got away with that. And he can out-corner us. Now, I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to drive under him. Oh, my drive out of this corner is atrocious. That's a really hard corner for me. If you are a regular listener to my videos, you know that I've got trouble with those big sweeping corners. It's just hard to maximize because there's multiple ways you could take that type of a corner. So here I am building up a lot of speed again because I'm really not too worried about these guys because I've done some tests. So they're already getting in trouble here. And now I get some drafting in. Ooh, don't want to make contact. A little bit of side contact. I was trying to do some side drafting. And you can do side drafting. So again, I'm going to ride high, build up more speed. I'm not worried about overtaking this next car. Want to really build up that speed. Oh boy, just hitting average speed as I'm nearing the line. That makes me nervous. Got to be careful on the next lap. Oh boy, did he ever pull up. I better watch out for her. Come on, man. Give me room to race. Good grief. Now, this car I noticed does not do very good in the acceleration out of the corner. Oh, nuts. I got stuck behind him. Ah, you knucklehead. He does not have good acceleration. Well, I was trying to drive under him. I'm really surprised I got away with 2 hits in one race. It did say no damage. I guess they were just light enough that it didn't fail me. Well, that's fortunate. Boy. Okay, so now I'm nicely in 5th place. All I have to worry about now is that average speed requirement. So again, I'm staying high. I don't have steering assist high on right now. I could turn it on, but then the bus stop is going to be atrocious. Steering assist high will make me take a horrible race line through the bus stop. So forget about that. I'm not going to do that at all. And steering assist low is of no benefit to me. I don't like it. So there we go. I was saying in stage 6 that for Daytona Speedway, I use steering assist high. Never use it at the road course or the motorcycle course. Okay, this is getting tense, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Done. Done like dinner. There we go. Okay, that one's in the bag. Now, this race. Okay, it's confession time. I think I spent an hour and a half on this race. I'm not joking, guys. I'm pretty sure it was an hour and a half. doing this race again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So you'll see I'm going low. Immediately I'm going low because I need to really catch up on these guys as fast as possible. So taking the shortest way around the track is best. I have really been fine-tuning my braking points because it all matters. And then there's a bit of a wild card thing that can happen here, but these two bots always get a bit tangled up the same way. So that's predictable. They get tangled up the exact same way every time. It's the next two bots after the McLaren that are unpredictable. And so you might, you'll just, yeah, once you get here, if it takes you a few tries, you'll know. Now, that, I do find that was best, was to get around that McLaren somehow, which sometimes meant roughing them up a little bit. I prefer that, nice and smooth. And my drive out was not great, so I'm still going to keep it really low unless that McLaren is catching on me. Then I'm going to slide up and catch some draft. I'd rather he didn't catch me, because that's going to really mess up my braking point heading into the bus stop. So I've got to really watch that. So right now I'm watching for the light. As soon as I see it, I got to hit the brakes. And oh, that was touchy. That wasn't great. The McLaren gained on me a bit. I was a little bit late on my braking point. Okay, so Zoe, and I don't know who the other one is. It's an Audi. It's an Audi and a Lamborghini. The Audi's in the lead. Here's where it gets unpredictable, okay? So they're going past the start-finish line. Oh, that McLaren's gaining on me pretty quick. Okay, I don't want to contend with him at my braking point. Good, he's not on my bumper. So sometimes Zoe's overtaking the Audi right here. Sometimes they go off track a little bit here. Well, they almost always go off track a bit. Oh, Zoe got the Audi this time. Okay, now that's a big problem. I need to get around that. I need to deal with Zoe very quickly. Zoe is fast in that Lamborghini. The Audi, not a problem. If that Audi was in front, I had many attempts. Oh, good. Rough her up a little bit. Uh-oh, Zoe's going to get on my outside. Zoe's super fast. I had one or two attempts where the Audi was still in front here, and that's great because then she stacks up Zoe, the Audi stacks up Zoe, and I can get around. Now I'm going to have a very fast Lamborghini. I'm contemplating the pit maneuver, but I don't want to. Now my braking point. Oh man, I gotta really adjust my braking point. So now I'm heavy blocking. Whoa! I think the McLaren rear-ended. rear-ended Zoe. I'm sure the McLaren got around the Audi because the Audi was slow. That was nasty. Thank you, Mr. McLaren. Now I would have been okay. I can keep blocking. I'm really good at blocking. There we go. I'm very happy with that. That was an extremely difficult stage. No additional upgrades, guys. I'm going to show you that at the very end. All right, let's get to the last race. Also, extremely challenging. I was almost going to put on upgrades when I thought, because I kept on failing. I thought, I'm going to take this right to the finish line, even if I fail, because there's an average speed requirement. And I'm starting really low. I'm doing the opposite of what I usually do, because my first goal is catch Magnus, then worry about average speed. If I can't catch Magnus at all, then obviously I need more upgrades. If I catch him but can't keep average speed, obviously I need more upgrades. So it's kind of surprising what happens when you do catch Magnus. All right, so same thing as last stage. You can kind of see where I'm braking here. This corner, oh, it's hard to maximize this corner. Very happy with that. The yellow curb there isn't off track, but then suddenly you are. And this corner, full throttle, even with my upgrades, tricky. This corner, again, really difficult. I had a really there, beautiful. I'm very happy with that. And then I need to drive onto the speedway to go very smooth. That is beautiful. Okay, you're going to notice something interesting with this Lamborghini Magnus is in, and that is he doesn't totally drive away from me. So you notice how I'm not totally at the bottom, nor am I totally at the top. I'm gauging this based on how far away I am from Magnus. I'm going to catch Magnus in the bus stop, but I need to draft off Magnus. I am going to do a pass very close to the start-finish line. This is a great chance to show you the different race lines and how they work at Daytona. See, I was drafting, gaining too fast. I went high so I could take the longer path but still build speed. Now I'm drafting a bit. Now watch, I start gaining. I got to go under him, pass, little side draft, get him to push me, quickly swoop down, hopefully hit average speed. Boom, did it. Oh my gosh, was that hard. Probably an hour there too. Here's my upgrades. You can see it's $1,591,500 R in total, 320 gold. Upgrades 3131,313. That's if you're looking from left to right. Gosh, am I ever happy with this. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have success with my tips. Here's the playlist link and some other videos, and I'll see you out there on the track.